New York City's tonight, the Nets against the Orlando Magic with a new weapon. A new acquired weapon that may have changed everything and saved our season. Let's talk about it, New York. It's the Front Office Podcast. I am the Twitter antagonist at Eve Darbooz. Across a connection of packets and zeros and ones is my guy, Samuel LaChow. Sam, say hi to everybody.
What's going on, Nets Nation?
We, as a fan base, took a blow. We took a blow in the sense of little babies that we watched grow up right before our eyes. We watched them get shipped out. And the person they were shipped out for, undoubtedly, MVP caliber basketball player, phenomenal, first ballot Hall of Famer, superstar in James Harden. However, James hasn't looked like a culture type of guy. James has been having bouts of spasms of disloyalty for the team he used to play for, a team who did everything to try to get him to win a championship. They got him Dwight Howard. They got him CP3. They got him Russell Westbrook. And lots of assets have been moved and lots of decisions have been made to appease James Harden. So you question yourself. You say, do we really gut ourselves, the spine of what we are as a team, for a person like James Harden? Person who has not the best put together I was going to say body of work, but his body needs work. James Harden is a strip club legend beyond being a basketball legend. His tales of James Harden in the strip club is spoken in whispers by strippers because their dreams may come true, and if you say it too loud, it may erase the fact that that moment had ever happened. These nigga, excuse me, I spoke a little bit too much from the heart there. This gentleman, James Harden, isn't the most sturdy of gentlemen in the sense of, guys that's just going to be there. And you want to know what? Everything I just said was not true. Because James Harden doesn't really get hurt. James Harden doesn't really have nights off. James Harden just plays basketball. And the trade that just happened, especially with the information that we know now, Karis having cancer, oh my God.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers to Karras.
Gut-wrenching. But what if we found out that, and the Nets would have eventually found it. What if we found this out and Karras was still on our team? So I lay in front of you now, Nets fans. We're going to talk about this a little bit because I've been hearing rumors of how this all went down, and I've heard it from actually two different groups, or 2.5 different groups, because one group, someone broke off and told me a little bit of a different story. But nonetheless, I think what I'll do is to make it short, I'll just basically say what I believe happened in the Harden trade. I'll give my own instead of saying it's other people's takes. I'll say here's my take and what I believe happened based off of what I've heard. Nonetheless, especially with hindsight goggles on, Samuel, you do this trade 1,000 times out over 1,000 times. It was fortunate because it saved.
So you've totally 180'd.
I does it have the potentiality to be the worst trade that ever devised? Yes. One of those Nets gets hurt, we have no future. One of those guys get hurt, Kyrie goes crazy, something goes wrong. Because you don't do this trade if you're not going to win a championship. There's no other route. It's this team. And as I watched that game tonight, and I was nothing but impressed, but at the same time, I'm looking at these guys and I'm saying, these is older guys. These are, we're looking at grizzled veterans. We're looking at Kevin Durant's ball spot. This is not going to last forever. And so there's no time for a dress rehearsal. These guys are older than the Heat when they came together. Those guys were 28 when they came together. I believe Kyrie's 29. And I don't know if you could look that up while I'm.
Yeah, he hasn't turned 30 yet.
Yeah, well, still he's older than LeBron was when he went to the Heat.
Yep.
So this is a smaller window. So there's no time for a dress rehearsal. There's no time for they have to win it this year. And if that's the measuring stick of success for this trade, because it's not like they gave up anything that's going to make any of those other teams championship teams. They gave up good NBA players. Those draft picks aren't ever going to be anything. Let's hope. But a lot could go wrong. And if anything goes wrong, it's the worst trade ever executed. Because those guys, not that you're saying, these guys are not dependable or they're not as talented as we say. I'm just saying that these guys are at the age where guys get hurt, and these guys have been hurt in when I'm talking about Kyrie and KD, and I think you need all three of them to win it all. To win a championship, I think you need all three of them. And I also don't think the Nets fixed any of their problems. They're the Orlando Magic shouldn't have even been in this game, based on the firepower that was on that floor tonight. But the reason why the Orlando Magic was able to stay in that game, and they put up numbers that they typically don't put up. They don't score this much, but they were able to because this defense is horrible. What DeAndre does to you, I don't know if teams can overcome that. Like I have so much more to say, Sam, but let me take a deep breath and let you go. Where do you
Yeah.
stand with the trade right now?
I still like from the perspective where they were at a couple of days ago. Like I mean, it's hard for me now to do. It is harder to do a hindsight review of the trade because I'm so now molded by this LeVert news, which is like really fucking unfortunate, and I hope for the best for him.
It's horrible, but if we're gonna analyze this thing honestly, that part of it at this point, if we're having the conversation now, if we're having the conversation yesterday, maybe we sound different. But because we're having the conversation now, I think why talk about yesterday? If I thought one way, I was wrong yesterday. It hit me so hard that I wanted to tune out the noise of everybody else so that I could analyze it for what it was and be fair to it as best as I can. And
I mean, look, I think, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think the thing we learned first about this deal, and it's unfortunate, but it's just kind of the truth, is like you have a guy like LeVert or even a guy like Jared Allen, and those guys are really good NBA players. Like they're not like average, they're not above average. They're like they're really good NBA. They're really good NBA players. But you do see it's like the difference between LeVert or the obviously the impact of Allen is different because he's a center, but we'll talk LeVert specifically. The difference of a guy like LeVert versus what Harden does is just like it's a night and day. You can feel the difference. You can feel how many more guys are focusing on what Harden's doing, and it's the consistency because that's what makes someone like a lot of these guys. LeVert can score 30. We've seen LeVert score 50 points. The thing is, how often can you do it? And Harden and Durant put up numbers that are just absolutely insane, like constantly, and they also make their teammates better. And so I don't know.
They did it against a top defense in the NBA. Now Orlando's missing Isaacs, who's probably the best defender on their team, but he can't stay healthy.
It was also against a team that they historically have issues with. Like they play the Magic poorly, and to be honest, they didn't play that well defensively today. But you know what I liked about it was I think it's clear, and I said this a million times. I think you said this as well. It was clear with the past iteration of the team that Durant was the best. Durant had the best vision on the team.
Yeah.
But with Harden there, it's like you got a whole new other animal there who knows what he's doing, and those two guys know how to play together. And so that's why I think for the purposes of this conversation, it's like analyzing how they played in like specifics. I think is kind of like a fool's errand because like there was just a lot of there were a lot of sloppy plays. There were a lot of plays where one guy thought they were one way and they were really another way, and like but all in all, I was happy they won. I thought they played.
It was important for them to get off on a good foot.
It was important for them to win, and you're right. I guess just commenting on the trade now is so hard. I do think, and I will stick by this at least. If Kyrie was playing, even with the LeVert news, I think I probably would have been more aggressive in getting some type of using picks to get another piece, but I don't really, or pieces, but I don't know.
And that's the part that I really don't like about this trade is that there's not much. I mean, they have the MLE.
And the disabled player exception because of Dinwiddie.
Right. And so I don't know if they've even filed to do that, but I think that's an option.
Yeah, no, they have filed.
Oh, they did. Okay, so I don't see what's. I guess we've got to wait to see when the buyout period happens. But right now, I think they're incomplete, and LeBron James could be looking at this team and going, "I've already beat Kevin Durant and James Harden." With Russell Westbrook, which is basically the same thing as Kyrie Irving. Like, I'm not saying that that's the truth. I'm saying